Hey everybody, welcome to the Slick Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Colby Langford. The point of this show is to help improve ourselves as dogmen and to raise the quality of the dogs on the end of our lead. So let's settle in, turn the volume up, and let's see if we can't learn a trick or two together from our guests. Hey everybody, you are listening to the Slick Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Colby Langford, and today we have got Jeremy Garner with us, which this is just a short little intro, and if anybody has heard it before, which I'm sure a lot of you have, Jeremy here a while back recorded a Tit to Tree episode, and he talks about everything from getting Gyps ready to have litter puppies and everything he does to care for them, goes through his program for getting them ready and for having pups and all the way to weaning them, his worming program, and how he starts them as well. It's a really good episode, and instead of just reinventing the wheel, I got a hold of Jeremy the other day, and I asked him if he'd be all right if we put it on my feed, and he's kind enough to agree to it, and I sure appreciate that, Jeremy. So how are you doing today?
Oh yeah, I'm good, man. Got my belly full and sitting here with a good cold drink, ready to do some talking.
Yeah, yeah. A little thinking, drinking.
Yeah, doing a little thinking, drinking. I'm trying some new stuff that my buddy bought me. It's funny. It's called Whistle Pig, and the the other last week I made a post on one of the groups about the old Ruger 1022s that we all built back in the squirrel haters days and around 2008, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm.
And we all used Whistle Pig barrels back then. And tonight I'm sipping on some Whistle Pig whiskey.
Nice, nice. Full circle.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, it's that really is a good episode that you recorded. I listen to it every time I start thinking about having litter puppies, or sometimes I'll even have listen to it before, and then I'll have a you go into really good detail on like how you worm them, when you worm them, all that kind of stuff. And man, it's a good episode.
Yeah, I think I think it's a lot of good. Well, I know it is. There's a lot of good information on there that some folks just don't think about. There's a lot of folks that they've never raised pups because they don't know, and they may decide they want to raise a litter of pups and go scouring the internet for information. Because I enjoy taking pups, from really from birth all the way up to the get started. Then once I get started, I get bored with them. But I like to fool with pups and raise them up. And I've had pretty good success. And after me putting so many videos of 10, 12, 14-week old puppies down in that starting pen, treeing a little bit. And I'm not saying running through the woods, taking a scent and putting a tree to it. I'm just the way I start my pups. When you got a 12-week-old pup, that'll belly up to the tree and just blow the top out of it like a whole dog. People started asking me how in the crap do you get them puppies to do that? So there's little tricks and tips and stuff here. So I decided I was walking around my pasture one day with my cell phone, and there's an app that you can record podcast without any equipment like we have now. So I took about 2 hours and was just hanging around in the back pasture on my cell phone. And I was going through my head step by step what I do. From I started. I haven't listened to it in a while, but I think I started a month before the female has pups, and I think I go to 2 weeks, and I tried to be as detail oriented as I could because I knew folks were going to ask me questions about it. So I figured if I put as much information in it as I could, then instead of not instead of folks asking me, they can just rewind it and listen to it. And I think it's been 3 years maybe or 4 years since I did that, and I still I still have people, pretty recently message me and ask me for links to it so they can let, a younger person listen to it, or somebody they know that's never raised a litter of pups and, want to know what to do, or how to care for the female leading up to it. There's a lot more to it than just, you know, waiting on a female to come in heat, getting her bred, and letting her have pups.
Mm-hmm.
The ironic thing is, I was telling somebody, is as much work as we do now, and keeping our females up, um, preparing, building nice whelping boxes, and doing everything that we can, and going through some of the steps that I talk about. It's funny that back in the day, my brother he had a bunch of beagles, and they would dig a hole under a barrel and have pups in the mud, and he would not ever give them shots or, worm them or anything, and the whole litter would live and be fine. And here now we got to have a podcast to figure out how to do it.
Right. Well, I guess instead of just talking about what your episode is, I guess we'll just go ahead and roll into it and let everybody listen for themselves. But
Yeah,
I want to thank you again, Jeremy. It's a great episode, and I really appreciate you letting me put it on my feed.
yeah, man. I'm actually glad you asked. Maybe some other folks can get some good out of it. Like I said, I enjoy doing it, and I do this with every litter of pups that I have. Every female, every litter of pups, I do the same thing every time, and it's worked really well for me. You you want you want to breed for the most natural starting pups that you can, the most natural instinct. But this episode will give you things that you can do to enhance that, help it along a little bit. And if you have a litter and you keep, say, 6 or 8 pups out of that litter, doing some of these things will also help you weed through some of those and cull some of them pups out early, so that you can put your time into ones that are showing more of those interests.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody will get something good out of it.
I'm sure they will. All right, well, here it is. Oh, and for anybody out there listening that's got kids or anything else, I just wanted to say this episode does have just a little bit more language in it than most of my episodes usually do, so just fair warning on that.
I'm too wired to just sit at a desk and talk, so I'm gonna walk. I know a lot of folks walk while they talk, but so every day I get calls, texts, messages, just folks wanting to talk dogs. I got a big mouth, got a lot to say, and folks just call, just want to talk dogs, which is fine. That's what I like to do. So a lot of the questions that I get are starting pups. Obviously, I do a lot of pup starting. I just like fooling with pups. So I thought I get a lot of the same questions over and over. So my thinking was, if I used a podcast format, maybe I could put it all down in one spot and have it saved to where folks they can go listen to it. If you don't want to listen to it, that's fine too. Whatever, I don't care. But maybe I could help one person. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start 1 month before your Jip is due to whelp pups. And I'm just going to go through my process of helping my females get through that last month, especially the last 2 weeks. And it's, there's different things that I do if it's wintertime versus summertime. The supplements that I've used, the things I've done over the years, and what I'm using now, that I have found are the best ways. I've tried some things that just didn't work out for me. So I'm going to go from, like I said, from 2 weeks to whelping. And then I'm going to go from the whelping process to 3 weeks old. And then I'm going to take you from 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks old, 8 weeks old. And then a pup selection process when I do raise pups. But I'm also gonna tell you what I do when I go buy a pup from somebody, how I choose a pup. A lot of times you go buy a pup from somebody, you've only got, a handful to choose from, and you don't get to spend a lot of time with them, an hour at the most, maybe. If you're lucky, you can go spend a couple hours, but most of the time, folks they drive a long way, they pick up a pup, they're there 30 minutes or an hour, you pick a pup and you go home, and you got what you got. So I'm just gonna tell the things that I do to try to give myself the best chance at picking a pup. And even then, nothing is a sure thing. I don't know if y'all can hear that. My neighbor's in the background. We've got a shooting range over at my neighbor's place, and he must have some of his old Navy buddies over there shooting today. But so anyway, when I get the pup in my hands, I'm going to go through what I do with that pup all the way up through them getting started. I've got a starting pen here. I don't really open it to the public, although I do take some young dogs and pups from time to time, but I'm fortunate. I really built a starting pen for my own pups. I know I've seen comments, some folks don't like starting pens. They say it's, hurts them more than it helps them. What I've found is used correctly and properly, a starting pen is one of the best tools. So I built my own. And I'm going to go through that. And just, like I said, I'm going to work my way up through and try to answer most of the questions that I get asked, or a lot of the questions that come up in conversation when talking about pups. I don't know everything, so don't take what I say as gospel. If you don't like what I'm saying, turn the thing off, and go listen to, something else. There are a handful of awesome podcasts that I listen to every week. You can go listen to any of those. I'm just gonna see if I can just help one person at least. If not, maybe when I'm old and senile and have drank too much, then I can go back and listen to this. And all right, so I'm going to get started. Raising pups. Some folks enjoy it, some folks don't. I always say that I hate pups. I hate raising pups, and that's mostly true. The part about raising pups I do like is knowing where they come from, that they were... All right, so I'm going to start off with raising pups for myself. I know a lot of y'all probably have seen me comment that I hate raising pups, and for the most part I do. It's a lot of work. It's nasty. For the little bit that I sell pups for, it's just not worth it. But the part I do like is I get to raise my own pups. I know where they're coming from. I know that they've been cared for. I know that they're healthy. I know they've been dewormed properly. I know that they have had all the shots. I'm not saying that when I go buy a pup from somebody else that all that's not been done, but I'm just saying when I raise my own, I 100% know. Also, I get to spend time with them, and it's more helpful to me in picking a pup. So, a month before my Jip is due to whelp pups, I'm going to put her in my whelping pen. I like a bigger whelping pen just because I don't know. I just think if you've got a bigger whelping pen or a bigger whelping area, I think it helps the female settle in a little bit more. I don't know. It may just be me. It may not matter. But so anyway, at a month in, I put my female in my whelper, right? I feed dogs and clean kennels twice a day, 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. if I can. So when my female's in the whelper, I do the same thing. I keep her automatic feeder going all the time, and I keep fresh water every day. I don't use a big 5-gallon bucket for my whelpers. I use a smaller horse pail is what I call it, what we feed our horses in. I use a small horse pail for water, and I clean it every day. I like fresh drinking water every day, and I want my dogs to have fresh water also, especially my females. You want that female as comfortable as possible. I do anyway. And I want her settled down. I want the least amount of stress on my female that I can get. So because prior to this, I've been feeding her twice a day and cleaning kennels twice a day. Once I move her into the whelper, I'm going to continue to do the same routine. That way, that's less stress that I'm adding. I'm already moved her, and some dogs just don't move well. It don't matter if we're talking about mountain curs or if we're talking about hounds, feists. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. Some dogs just don't do well to change. So I'm fresh water, I'm feeding her twice a day, and I'm cleaning her kennel twice a day just like normal. So then we're going to move on up to 2 weeks prior to whelping pups. All right, at 2 weeks before pups, at 2 weeks your female should really be starting to get low in her belly. At 2 weeks, I'm going to change her bedding, whatever I'm using. If I don't really like, for whelping boxes, I don't really like anything with small pieces. I don't like shavings. I normally don't use hay. I just use towels. And what I do is I go to the dollar store. And I'm lying to you. My wife goes to the dollar store because I hate to shop. My wife will go to the dollar store and she'll buy me a dozen of the cheapest bath towels we can get, because your female is going to shred them to pieces. A lot of them will. Most of the ones I've had, they chew on them, or I don't know if they're making them a nest or whatever they're doing. But a lot of times they'll shred them to pieces. So if you go to the dollar store and get cheap ones, it don't matter. You can throw them away. If they make a mess on them, you just take them out and throw them away. You don't even have to wash them. So at 2 weeks, I make sure I've got my bedding down in my whelper portion. And I use, over the years, I've tried a lot of different things. So at 2 weeks, I'm still feeding, I'm still giving fresh water twice a day like normal routine, but I'm keeping her automatic feeder just full all the time. I don't put 25 pounds in at a time, because I don't know, sometimes I think maybe some gets wasted that way. So what I do is I just put whatever I was feeding twice a day, I double the portions so that she always has food. And right now I'm feeding a really, really good feed. It's Showtime feed, and in the green bag is their puppy feed. I think I really don't know, 30-20 or 34-20 or something like that. But it's the puppy feed in the green bag. So keeping her feeder full, and I'm giving her a supplement called Oxy Mama, and I'm giving it one time a day. Several places you can get the Oxy Mama from. It comes in a big white bottle. It's a chewable tablet. Salvation Dog Supply is semi-local to me, owned by a friend of mine. It's in North Mississippi. Super good dude. You can hit him up on Facebook, or you can get his number off his website. I think you can even order off his website. I just call him up and tell him what I need when I need it. I pay him, he ships it to me. It's usually here in a day or 2, 3 at the most. So anyway, I give the Oxy Mama starting at 2 weeks. one a day. And I just give her that one time a day until the bottle's gone. I don't know, I maybe 60 to a bottle. I can't remember if it's 60 or 90. I think it's 60 to a bottle. You know what? It may not even be. It may just be 30, but whatever. I give her one a day until the whole bottle's gone. That helps. For one, it's got vitamin B12 and it's got different supplements in it. It helps with the milk production. All right, and that's what you want you want your female as healthy as you can get. The pups are going to get everything they need for the first few weeks of their life from their mama. So if you start off with a sick, weak, underweight, unhealthy female, that's what you're going to get in your pups, right? So, so 2 weeks, like I said, and at the end of 2 weeks, 63 days, 62 days, 63 days, whatever it is. Some whelp a little before, some whelp a little after. I like to see big, fat, healthy pups. I don't like a big litter, but there's nothing you can do about it. So at whelping, what I do is I once I know my female's whelping, I try not to stress her out by constantly going out and opening the whelper, every 20 minutes and checking on her. If I'm going to go out to the whelper and open it up, I'm just going to open it, and I may sit there with her for an hour while she's having the pups. My kids will come out, my wife will come out. Once I shut it up, I try to shut it up for a couple hours. That way, it's just not a lot of stress, because some females, every time they hear you coming out to the kennel, they're going to want to get up, come to the gate, come to the door. And I don't want to do it. I just don't want to doing that the least amount as possible. So now we've got pups on the ground. I change my bedding every day. If it's not really, really nasty, the first day or two is going to be a lot of discharge. It's just going to be nasty, and I'm throwing them away immediately. And then I just change them every day. And if we in our house, we have washing towels, and then we have what we call dog towels. Those are the ones that we put down in front of the door when our house dog comes in and out. If it's raining or muddy, we dry his belly off before he goes and lays down. When I'm changing the bedding, if they're not just totally ripped up and they're not saturated in discharge or whatever, we're going to wash those with dog towels. We don't wash them with anything else. We don't use, in our house, we use unscented, undyed liquid washing detergent. So that's what we wash in. I've never had a problem with, any kind of a dye, on towels or whatever messing with pups. Probably wouldn't, but anyway, I change my bedding every day and just try to keep the kennel as clean as possible. I'm still cleaning the out portion of the kennel twice a day. I'm still making sure my female has got fresh water every day and as much feed as she wants, and I'm still giving her the Oxy Mama. All right. So 3 weeks. At 3 weeks old, 2 weeks old, your pups are going to open their eyes. At 3 weeks old, I've got a mixer, just an old cheap mixer my wife picked up at, Target or Dollar Store or whatever. And I take that Showtime puppy feed and I mix me up a big Tupperware container of powder. I use that mixer and I mix my puppy feed into a fine powder. It may take you 45 minutes to an hour of using the mixer, pouring it in a couple of times, grinding it, dumping it out. But I guarantee it will be worth your time. At 3 weeks old, every morning at 6 a.m., never even at 6 p.m., I come home, I get lukewarm water, which just, let's say, room temperature water. All right, and I mix some powder in with that water. I don't put anything else, just the powdered dog food. Room temperature water, and I mix it into a sloppy mush. I want mine at 2 weeks old. I want it like more than a milkshake consistency. Maybe more like eggnog, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a thick drink, but anyhow, and I just put it down every morning, and I take my female out and tie her out and just kind of give her a break, and I let them puppies eat all they want while I'm feeding all the rest of my dogs. When I get done feeding my dogs, I put my female back in. Naturally, she's going to go finish up whatever's left. She's going to clean the whole area up. Them puppies are going to wallow in the feed. They're going to lay in the feed. They're going to climb on each other and have feed everywhere, all over each other. She's going to clean those puppies up. No need to do anything. I get home at 6 p.m. I get home from work, and at 6, I go out. I do the same thing. Take my female out. I tie her to the side, give her a little break, take my mush, let my pups eat all they want. I got more time in the afternoon, so I let my pups eat until they're walking around. Matter of fact, usually when they get done eating, they pretty much just go right back into the whelping portion, which is where they're most comfortable. Put my female back in, repeat the same process. And I do this at 3 weeks. I start at 3 weeks old. They're still nursing on their mother. By the time my pups get 5 weeks old, I start, my consistency in my powder is a little thicker. Still the same thing, still twice a day. At 5 weeks old, I start taking my female out in the morning, putting her in her own kennel, fresh food, fresh water, and I let them pups eat all they can. They go back in the whelper, and I leave my female out all day. Come back in, I do the same thing. 6 p.m., I feed my pups. Let them eat all they want. They go back in. Before I go to bed, I get my female. I put her back in the pen with the pups, and they'll nurse her down, right? Because her teats will be full of milk. From fresh water, good feed, and oxy, mama, she's going to be full of milk. Well, that's what you want. So I put her back in the evenings, and I let them pull her down. And then I repeat every morning. At 6 weeks, of course, I keep my pups a lot longer than a lot of folks, but at 6 weeks old, I will pull my female out completely. I start feeding whole puppy feed, but I just lightly add a little bit of lukewarm water. That way it's still whole pieces of dog food, but it's soft. And my female is out, and I'll leave her out for 2 or 3 days. If I see that she is bagging up too much, I'll put her back in and let them draw her down. By 6 weeks old, their little teeth are so deadgum sharp that she's not really going to be wanting them to nurse much. But sometimes a female just gets so much milk, which is a good thing. But I want them to draw her down every couple of days, and I'll do that just 2 or 3 times, just depending on my female. Sometimes I have seen a female have so much milk that if you don't let them draw down every couple of days until she starts drying up, a female will get mastitis, just from so much milk in their mammary glands. The mammary glands will get real hard like bricks. But I mean, you can go to the vet and they can give them something it clears it right up, and you can take rags soaked in hot water and lay on her and give her some comfort. But I've only had that happen. I've only had it happen to me one time. I've seen it with many others, but I learned my lesson the first go round with just taking my female off and not letting her be nursed at all. So now we have 6 to 8 week old pups. They are completely weaned off the female. Your female is back in her kennel drying up. She's ready to be away from the pups. And now you've got a mess on your hands because these pups are eating, crapping machines, right? This is where the part of raising pups comes when I say that I hate pups. I hate raising pups because they're nasty and they eat a ton of food. But it's just a process you have to go through. So at 8 weeks old, I'm making sure that my pups have food all day. I'm still using green bag Showtime. And I just keep a feeder. I use an automatic feeder, although I don't put 25 pounds in it at a time. You know, like I said, whatever I'm feeding them, I guess I'm using a big, I don't know, just like a big cup that you get at the gas station. Big fountain, maybe a large fountain drink cup or whatever. I'm giving 2 of those twice a day just to make sure my feeder's full. If I see that I'm doing too much, common sense, I just slack off a cup. If they need more, if you got a big litter, the last litter I raised 10 pups. I had to pour the feed to them because they was eating machines. I clean that kennel, that whelper, twice a day. It's a pain in the butt. It's nasty. You have to get up a little early, but I mean, you want healthy pups. Cleanliness is the best thing for healthy pups, right? 8 weeks old, I'm starting to really watch these puppies now. I'll decide, do I want a male? Do I want a female? And if I want a female, then I don't really pay much attention to the males as far as watching their actions. I just watch my females, right? So now we got 9-week-old pups. And so I guess I should back up with my puppy process a couple weeks because at 4 weeks old, I start deworming them. Right after they start getting sack feed, I use the safest puppy dewormer that you could possibly give is the Tail Poemote. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's how Southern Boy says it. And I give each pup 1 cc, right? Because they're 4-week-old pups. Theoretically, you could forget the bottle in their kennel and they could chew the whole bottle and drink it all, and it would not kill them. It may make them crap like a bull, but so I just give 1 cc at 4 weeks old, and I do it every 2 weeks until they're 16 weeks old. Every 2 weeks. Tail Poemote. When they get a little bit bigger, naturally you're going to up your dosage. You can look at the dosage per your pup. I can't tell you how much to give for your pup because I don't know. I don't know if we're talking about hound pups, cur pups, or feist pups. So dose properly, but that's what I'm using. Tail Poemote. All right. So back to 9 weeks old. Well, I guess I could back up one more time because at 6 weeks old, let me see, 6 weeks old, I'm giving them their first 5-in-1 canine shot, right? And this pretty much is your distemper and your parvovirus. Up until 6 weeks old, the pups have gotten everything they need from their mom in the colostrum the first couple of days, and then through the mother's antibodies in her milk, it's passing down to your pups. So I know there are people going to disagree with me, and that's fine. I don't care. But for me, I've had parvo on my place, and I've lost pups. This last litter I did after Clorox in my whole place multiple times. I was going to give more shots than necessary, and I have a really good friend of mine that's a vet, and I talked to her about it several times. And until the puppy is 6 weeks old, any shot you give them, it's just a waste, right? So I just give them the 5-in-1 at 6 weeks, and then I do every 3 weeks, right? 6, 9, 12, 15, Actually, I probably skip the 15 and do it at 16 because just 16 is just I don't know. I like even numbers. But anyhow, I got ahead of myself just a little bit. But all right, so once my pups have had a shot and they're eating good, they're healthy, I don't see any issues, I start letting their feet touch the dirt, right? They've got to get, at some point, if I whelp my pups in an above ground whelper, some folks let their pups whelp in a dirt floor pen, and that's fine for them. I'm sure they have healthy pups, right? But I start putting my pups on the ground, and I start Cloroxing my pen, my whelper. I'm just a clean freak like that. So at 10 weeks, I'm trying to separate pups, and I'm starting to move pups out. At 10 weeks old is when I start getting rid of some of these little crappers. Maybe some are a little smaller than others, or and what I'm looking for, what I'm culling out are the pups that I've been watching that are timid, have a little shyness to them. I don't like any shyness or timidness in a pup whatsoever. The old timers used to say, they'll grow out of it, but my luck is not that good. So, when I'm going out, the last pup that always comes up to the fence, and when you reach in to or the whelper gate, when you reach in to grab them and it backs away from you, that's probably going to be a pup that I'm getting rid of, right? I just don't like that. So I want a bold pup. I want a bigger pup. I want the pup that is the first on the tit. I want the pup that is first to the food bowl. I want the pup that when it hears me rattle the gate to my pasture, I want the pup that barrels out of that whelping portion into the open kennel, first on the gate, first one barking. Those are the pups that I'm looking for. Those are the ones I'm keeping, and I'm getting rid of the other ones. Those other ones may make absolute fantastic pups. They're just not going to do it at my house. I mean, you have to slim down at some point. So that's just my process. I'm looking for those bold pups. Me, personally, if I have any pup in this time that is sickly, I just cull it. It's sickly for a reason. If all the other ones are healthy and it's sickly for a reason, it's for me, I get it out of the way. I mean, I know that it may be taboo, or some folks ain't gonna like it, but it's just how it is on my place. All right, so now that I've picked a couple pups, 3, 4, however many you decide to keep out of your litter, I move them to my puppy kennel, which is a 10 by 20 or 10 by 30 welded wire fence, and I've got it sitting on conveyor belt that I got from when FedEx here in Memphis, when they ever so often they go through and replace all their conveyor belt. I had a friend that used to work there, and he would bring me trailer loads of them. It doesn't absorb any pee, any crap. It's super easy to spray off. I mean, it is just fantastic for pups because they're nasty anyway. So just say I've got 4 pups. I've got them in a 10 by 20. I'm still cleaning twice a day, every morning, and I'm washing them down every night. I'm still feeding them every morning and every evening, making sure they have fresh water every single day. It is so easy. You're going to clean a kennel anyway. Just dump the bucket over, rinse it out, dump it. As you're washing the kennel, fill your bucket back up. There is absolutely no reason you should not ever keep your dogs in fresh water. I mean, pisses me off to go to somebody's house and walk up to their dog kennels and the water buckets be green, black, and half full. I mean, it's so easy to keep them in fresh water. So anyway, I got them in this big puppy kennel, and I'm watching them. And so when they get 12 weeks old, I move them to I move them to my starting pen. I have 8-foot chain link fence. I've got in some of it I've got 2 foot of chain link woven into the bottom portion of my fence, covered in dirt. Some of it is welded wire woven into the bottom of it. Nothing can dig out, nothing can dig in. So I feel safe putting my pups in my starting pen at 12 weeks, and that's where they stay. And I still do the same routine. My starting pen is so far from my barn that I don't have running water out here yet. So I carry water every day. I mean, it's the right thing to do. I bring them fresh water. I feed them same thing. I come down at 6 a.m. I pour feed, and I'll walk through my starting pen. Maybe walk the perimeter. I may just walk right through the middle of it, and the pups just follow me, and we don't do nothing but just walk. At some point, they're going to run across a dumb young squirrel. So 12 weeks old, I'm putting them in the starting pen, right? And that, that's going to lead me into talking more about my starting pen. But what I want to do now is I want to go back to not raising pups and buying a pup from somebody. So when I'm buying a pup from somebody, naturally, I've already done my homework. I've done my own research. Back on the Squirrel Haters days, hell, I can't remember who it was, used to always, anytime somebody was asking about a dog or a cross or a pup, they would say, do your own research. And that has stuck with me for 15 years, do my own research. So at the time I'm talking to whoever about a pup, I've already dug as deep as I can on the sire, the dam, the grandparents on both sides, as far back as I can get. I've asked questions, I've talked to folks, and I've talked to the breeder. You know, how does the male hunt? How does your female hunt? A lot of times, because of social media, you're already going to know. You know, folks is like me. Everything we do with a dog, we think we have to jump on there and post it on Facebook. I don't have an Instagram or a TikTok anymore, but I just use the Facebook. But it's a great place to research the pup that you're wanting to buy. And I call the breeder and I just talk to him. You know, I mean, most times if somebody's breeding a pup, they naturally are going to be, they're going to like and enjoy talking dogs. So they're not going to mind telling you just how good their male is and just how good the female is. So just call and talk to them. I'm interested in buying a pup. Tell me about the parents, Describe these pups to me, I would like a male or I would like a female. What is available? And just ask them for pictures. I mean, I wouldn't worry the shit out of them, but you could ask them once a week. All right, sorry about that. There was a bunch of kids on four-wheelers cutting through the cornfields behind the house. They wasn't supposed to be out there, so I had to stop recording and see if I could get them run out of there. But so anyway, I wouldn't worry the piss out of them, but maybe once a week. Hey man, how's them pups coming along? Just wanted to check on them. Let you know I'm still interested in getting a pup. So when the pups are 6 weeks old or whatever, they may be six. They may want them leaving at 6 weeks. They may want to keep them to their 8 weeks. I prefer to let them keep my pup until 8 weeks old. Although I've had to get some at 5 and 6 weeks old. Over the years, I've learned that those extra 2 weeks with their siblings, it makes a big difference in bringing your pup home. So when it's time for me to load up and go down and if I get the chance to pick a pup, sometimes, it may only be one pup there and you don't have a choice. You just have to pick that pup, and it is what it is. I like to be able to go look at all the pups, see them. I just, let them out of the kennel, ask them to just let them out, let them run around. And I'm looking for those bold pups. Same thing I'm looking for when I'm raising them. I'm looking for a pup that if I clap my hands or stomp my foot and you got two pups that flinch and run, those aren't two that I want to look at. I want the ones that are chewing on my britches legs and trying to climb up my legs. All right, so I'm picking out my pup. As I said, I'm still looking for the bold pups. Nobody wants an ugly pup, so naturally I'm looking for the first thing that you see when you see a pup is their looks. I like a bigger pup. I like a houndier pup. Even if we're talking about a cur and we're talking about a hound, I've seen some hounds that are just not houndy looking pups. And when I say houndy looking, I mean a low hanging ear set, the broad head, the longer body, big feet, squared chest, just a big droopy looking pup. That's the very first thing that I look for. If I'm choosing from three pups, right? And one pup is houndy looking and the other pups are good looking pups, just not as houndy. As long as that houndy pup is not shy or timid, that's the one I'm bringing home, right? So right then, I'm choosing a pup that I like something about. So I'm giving myself a 50% better chance at having something. That still don't mean that it's going to be anything. But like I said, at this point where you're at, you have to pick one, right? So that's how I pick. I'm looking for bold, houndy looking, big, outgoing pups. All right, so now that I've got my pup picked out, I'm headed home with it. The very first thing that I'm going to do is take 100 damn pictures of it and post them on social media, because that's just what I do. Then I'm going to take it home and I'm going to do the exact same thing that I've done with the pups that I raised from myself. So if this pup is 8 weeks old, I'm going to deworm it every 2 weeks, and I'm going to give it a shot every 3 weeks. Then I'm going to give it that one at 16 weeks old. At 12 weeks old, I'm going to put it down in my starting pen. If it's the only pup I have in my starting pen, I'm going to get up in the mornings and take it out of my puppy kennel at the house, and I'm going to walk it down the starting pen, feed it fresh water, and leave it in my starting pen all day. Since it's the only one in there, I just take them out at night while they're so young, put them back in the kennel, let them settle down. I'm going to feed them. And I'm just going to repeat that until they're a little older. All right, so here's where I'm going to kind of get into more of the training part of it, right? So no matter if I've got one pup or six pups, they're in my 10 by 20 puppy kennel, all right? Feeding them twice a day. And I've got the big aluminum insulated dog houses. Every day that I go in, I pick up my feeder and I set it on top of the dog house and I pour my feed into it on top of my dog house. And naturally, pups are jumping up on me, jumping up on side of the dog house. And you've watched some of my videos, maybe you haven't, but I speak calmly to these pups. I don't get a high-pitched voice, and I don't pet and rub and give them a bunch of out of girl, sick 'em girl, get on them girls or boys or whatever. I just calmly talk to my pups when they put their feet up on the side of that doghouse, smelling in the air, smelling that dog food. They've been eating the dog food their whole life. They know what it is. They know what the smell is. Nothing has changed about what they're eating. when I place it up there and they put their little paws on the side of that box and go to smelling, I just tell them, good boy, good girl, whichever. All right. I'm going to try to just say I'm just going to use a female pup maybe for the rest of this deal. So anyway, she puts her feet up on the doghouse. I tell her good girl, and I'll reach and give her 2 or 3 little old kibbles in my hand and let her eat. And then I just get back out of the way, right? Naturally, she's going to eat them up. She's going to smell around looking for more. If she goes back and puts her feet back on the side of that and stretches out again, I'm going to give her a couple more. And I'm going to do that every time I go down and feed. After a time or two, I'm going to put the food in on the ground and let her eat. I'm going to leave her alone, let her do her thing, right? When I go back that evening, I'm going to do the same thing. What I'm doing is I'm using feed to influence that pup, that young, 8, 10, 12 weeks old, to look up for something, to smell up for what they want, right? By the time they get 12 weeks old, I've already done this a week or so, and if they start barking, wonderful. If they put their feet up on top of that dog box and start barking at that dog food, I'll give them a few pieces and I'll pet them up, and I just calmly tell them, that's my girl, good girl. You don't have to get super fired up and excited and high-pitched talking and all that stuff like a lot of folks do, because that is a distraction to that pup. I don't want that pup focused on my high-pitched voice and me petting and rubbing and patting on the doghouse. I want them focused in their attention on the dog food, smelling the dog food, getting the dog food, right? So by the time they hit my starting pen, I have, I guess, I don't want to say taught, but I guess I did. I've taught these pups that when they smell something they want, they pinpoint it, bark for it, they get it, right? And I'm doing it with dog food. You can do anything you want with the dog, with dog food or a treat, right? So when I get my dog pen, what I done was I put up right out just inside the gate, just across from my doghouse, I put a feeder up, and it's high up in a tree, about head level with me, and I just use it to put I'll put ears of corn in it and let the squirrels come down, the coons come in and eat it off the ear. But I really use it in the mornings. At this point, I've done all this with my pups. They're 12, 13 weeks old. They've been in my starting pen every day for a week, and they're comfortable with everything. So now when I go in, they know I'm coming. When they see me coming, I start talking to them as I come up over the hill headed to the bottom to my starting pen. I'm talking to them. Now they know I'm coming. They're excited, running around, jumping up on my gate. Probably some of them are barking. They know I've got feed because I've been doing the same thing every day, right? Every day since they were born, I've done the same thing with these pups. I come in my starting pen, and I'm talking to my pup just calmly, and I'm rattling that dog food cup. They know what's in it. They can smell it. Pups are way smarter than people give credit for. I set this cup inside the feeder, and I take just 1 or 2, maybe 3 little old kibbles, and I rub it on not the base of the tree, but I rub it up about head height of the tree, of my pup on the tree. I just rub the dog food, and then I drop it on the ground. Naturally, the pup's going to gobble it up. They're going to smell all over the tree. They're going to put their feet on the tree, and they're going to look up knowing that the rest of that dog food is above their head. And they may not start off barking at it, but I'm going to do it every day until they bark. And when they bark, I'm going to praise them. And I'm going to give them a handful of kibble. If they bark, if their feet are on that tree or they're standing at the base of the tree and they bark up at their dog food, I'm going to give them more than just a kibble. I'm going to give them a handful and let them know, hey, that's what I want. That's what I'm coming for. And I only do this in the mornings. When they get to this point in this age, I don't want to overdo it. So I'm just doing this in the morning times. And I know if you've watched any of my puppy videos in the last 4 or 5 years, you've seen me doing this, right? Just in the mornings. In the evenings, I just come down, I pour their feed, we make a little round, and I let them eat, and then I come down before bedtime, put them in the kennel. But, like I said, at this point, they are barking up on a tree at their feed, right? So let's just say our pups is 13, 14 weeks old. All right. I keep a fresh coon hide. In Mississippi, we have a very lengthy coon season. So I almost always am able to get a fresh coon hide. I don't like using bottled scents because how do we really know that scent is what a coon smells like to a dog? I know that fresh coon that I took the night before smells just like what a coon's supposed to smell to a dog. So I just use a fresh coon hide. I don't start out using the whole coon because it's big and it's scary looking to some pups. So I just cut a big portion of the hide off along with the tail. So when I go down to feed, I've got my cup of feed in the morning and I've got this fresh coon hide, right? So now these pups, or my pup, for a week or so, has been barking up a tree at their food. They know that their food is in that thing when I set it up there. And they know they're supposed to bark, they get feed, right? So now I put my food I put the food above their head, and now I'm rubbing this coon hide on this tree. And I'm sitting it up with their dog food. If they put their feet on the tree and bark like they have been for a week or so, I drop the coon hide to them first, and then I give them some kibble. All right? So now I have associated my pup with putting their feet on a tree, barking treed for their food that now smells like a fresh coon, right? Pups are super smart. It's not going to take them long to associate that smell with their food. All right. And I do this every couple of days, every 3 days. Whenever I have a fresh coon hide, the very next morning, when I come home from hunting, I skin some of it with a tail, and that I grab my feed, I go down the next morning, and I'm going to repeat myself. I go in the gate talking to my pup like normal. I've been doing this same thing for weeks with my pup. I've been walking down the gate talking to him for weeks. They know what I'm coming with. They know I'm coming with food. Now I'm coming with a little something extra that they like. I'm putting my food up in my whelper, and I'm hanging I'm putting my coon scent on the tree, and I'm hanging my coon up above their head. And they're putting feet on the tree, and they're barking. I'm dropping the coon hide to them, and I'm giving them a little feed. And then I let them play with the coon hide. While they're playing with the coon hide, I pour their feed into their regular food bowl. I'm putting their fresh water in, and then I take the coon hide away, and I go to work. This pup is going to lay around all day long waiting on me to come home, hoping that I got a coon hide, right? So in my mind, which sometimes is a little woozy, especially if I've been doing a little thinking drinking, in my mind, I have taught or shown that pup that they really, really, really want that coon hide that smells like a damn coon, that they know when they smell that smell, they also get food, right? I don't know if you want to call it imprinting or whatever the actual word for it is, but in my mind, they have learned that scent means food, and if it's above their head, they bark, they get it. We're talking 12, 14-week-old pups here, right? It's just, to me, it's just a little extra something that I do with pups. I mean, you don't have to do it. A lot of people don't. Some people don't even mess with a pup until they're, they don't even do nothing until they're 16 weeks old. A pup may be 5 or 6 months old, and you see them on Facebook. Can't get my pup to bark up. Any suggestions? What do I do? Well, if you hadn't left it in the kennel this long, not all pups are going to start this early. I don't consider what I'm doing being a started pup. Now we're up at 16 weeks old. I don't consider this a started pup at all. What I consider at 16 weeks after this whole process, my pup is now ready to go hunting, right? So this pup is done with a starting pen. They have been running loose in this starting pen all day. And when they got a little older, I've been leaving them in at night. And when it storms, I put them up. I don't leave them in my pen during the storm. I've put a lot of time, and by this time, I've had a lot of time and effort in these pups. I don't want to freak them out by leaving them down here in this pen by themselves during a damn storm. So they know that they can roam this pen without me. They are chewing on sticks. They're seeing bugs and birds. They're watching birds eat on my feeders. They're watching squirrels come down. They may even be barking at some of these squirrels. They may even be actual treeing some of these squirrels. I'm at work, I don't know. Sometimes I see my pups down here barking at squirrels and treeing, and I'll come take a video of them. They may be 14, 15, 16 weeks old, and I put some videos of them. I still don't consider that a started dog, right? They're just pups. They are doing they're doing what they're supposed to do. They were born to do it. They're doing it naturally. I'm not really, I hate to say teaching. I'm not really teaching them to do that because they're born with it. It's just, that's their natural ability that I am helping them develop maybe a little younger than they normally would. Let's just call it that, right? So at this point, my pup is 16 weeks old, and she's done with the starting pen, right? I can clean my bedding out, take my feeders up, pull my water bucket upside down, and she's in the kennel with the big dogs, right? And now she's in the regular routine with my big dogs, with the exception of I get up early. Depending on the time of year, I like a spring pup. Every spring, I like to have a pup to work with, spring and summer. So now it's springtime. The squirrels and the coons and the deer and the birds have eaten up all the mass that has fallen, or most of it. What's left is half rotten, half eaten. So they're looking they're coming down, they're looking for food, right? So I leave my feeders going inside my starting pen, but I don't hunt in my starting pen. I'm now hunting my pup around my starting pen, right? Wild woods, wild squirrels, nothing that they can lay around and watch sneak down a tree and bark at by sight. That's something that I can't help. While they're in that pen and I'm at work, I can't help that they sight tree. That's going to happen. That's why they no longer go in there. They know that they can bark up by scent. So I start out with these pups at 16 weeks old. It's, some of them, sometimes there's an exception, and I'll start doing this a little earlier, but on the whole, at 16 weeks old, every morning I come down, I feed all my dogs, and I let my pup out of her kennel. And we go to the woods. We walk straight out behind my house. Between me and my neighbors, we have 100 acres, and a lot of it's bottomland, hardwoods, a lot of sweet gum trees, no pines, maybe some cedars, but mostly hardwood and sweet gum and cypress. And I'm walking my pup every morning, and we're just making a 15-minute round because I still have to go to work. I'm in my work clothes. Even if it's a light drizzle, throw my raincoat on, me and that pup, I've got a little old circle that we're making it. Even if there's nothing out and about, we still have a better chance early in the morning in the springtime at catching something on the ground. We may catch a early morning coon headed up to a den up all day. So I'm walking this pup every morning, right? It's inevitable at some point we're going to walk across a scent so strong that my pup is going to throw her feet up on that tree. And from her experience of everything that me and her has been doing together, she's going to know when she throws her feet on that tree and smells something above her head. I'm hoping, let me say that she knows to bark. She's going to get praise. Now, in her mind, maybe she's thinking, even if it's a squirrel or a coon, it's still scent. Maybe in her mind, she's thinking, hey, there's scent above my head. Feet on the tree, I bark, I get dog food, right? At some point, there's no more dog food. It's just praise, all right? But the whole time I'm telling you, as I'm walking down the hill towards my starting pen, I'm talking to my pup, just calmly talking, right? That is me praising my pup. I'm giving the pup my attention. So when I stop with the dog food and the pup trees in the wild, she's still getting her prize. It's just in the form of my affection and my praise. Again, I don't get all high-pitched and squeaky-voiced and petting up and petting on the tree. None of that's required. And I've not yet showed the pup any kind of caged game because there's no point in it. You don't need it. There was a time in my life that I thought I had to use cage game, and it did more for me than it did my pups. Really, it got me excited listening to my pup tree, but I mean, it's just not necessary for me. You want to use it, I'm all for it. I'm all about letting a man do whatever he wants to with his own dog. It don't affect me any. So anyway, I'm making rounds, and once I think if I'm going for a coon dog, once I think my pup is comfortable enough walking around in the woods with me, maybe she's treed a time or two, then I start taking her out at night. And I leave my bright walking light on the entire time we're walking. And we just make a 15-minute trip, 30-minute trip. As she gets a little older, then I'll make it a 30-minute to 45-minute trip, leaving my light on. Hoping some pups by this time may tree a little. Some may not be treeing. Doing it at night, it brings a whole nother aspect for a pup because they're just not. That's not something that you've been doing. But I don't do that for a reason. For one, during the day, the pup can see me. They can see everything. They're a lot more comfortable. And I'm still I've got trails on this 100-acre block. I'm walking fence lines, I'm walking field lines, and I'm walking through the woods, letting my pup do whatever. It is the only thing I don't let him do. I don't let him chew and roll on anything dead. You don't have to spank them and whoop them or nothing like that. I just go, hey, all you got to do is get their attention and say, come on, let's go. Just make them get away from it. Super simple. All right. I do not allow a pup to walk behind me or sit in the woods. If they do either, we go back to the kennel instantly. Wherever we're at, we fast walk straight back to the kennel. And I don't praise them for anything. I want them to know that if we're in the woods and they do either one of them two things, they know they're going to have to get locked up. No pup wants to stay locked up. They want to be out roaming around. So it don't take a smart pup long to learn. I'm not going to sit down and I'm not going to walk behind this man so that I don't have to go to my kennel. All right. So now my pup is ready for the next step, which is loading in my dog box on my wheeler and going to the cornfields. So far, we've just been walking from the kennel. They've not been introduced to a wheeler. I don't want to introduce my pups too early. Most pups, young pups, you put them in a wheeler, They're going to be drooling. They're going to get sick. They're going to crap. They're going to throw up, and they're not going to have a good time at all. So I'm fortunate that I've got all this land right here that I can just leave my house walking, that I don't have to haul them anywhere to be able to hunt them. But when I am ready to haul them, I don't throw them in the truck. I put them on my wheeler. The bottom that I live in a big bottom behind my house. The farmers behind me and the canal, the whole bottom is roughly 5,000 acres. It is majority row crops, corn and beans. It has a big canal that the government dug years ago to get all the water off these fields when it rains. And there are drainages between each field that run into the canal. So each field drains into a big drain, and those go to the canal. Water gets out. All right. On either side of these drains, there are 20 to 40 yards on either side of hardwoods, just like your river bottoms, right? You got the same thing. You got cottonwoods and hardwoods and sweet gums, and then you'll have a field on both sides of it, and it's just 5,000 acres of that, probably a little more than 5,000 acres. So at this point, I'm putting my pup in the dog box of my wheeler because I can leave my driveway, cross the road, go through the trails, and I can be in these fields in about 7 minutes. And then I can get my pup out. So I'm not making no 30, 40-minute drive or a 20-minute ride with my pup sick in the box. And the pups still may drool some. They still may get uneasy. But I'm trying to make it quick. And at this point, I like my pups to be on field edges. I don't want them to be deep in the woods. I want field edges, and I'm going to tell you why. When I load my pup, we go to the cornfields behind my house. The first fields that I come to are actually hay fields. The farmers, some of the farmers back there that are growing the corn and beans, they also have cattle, so they have their own hay fields that they fertilize. And also I go to those hay fields, and especially if they're cut, it's real clean. There's no briars, and it's nice for a pup to be able to run. So I load my pup up. We go straight to the fields. It gives them some in the box time, but not a lot of in the box time. And I get them out, and I just let them run around. Maybe let their stomach settle. Just let them. Let the pup settle itself. And then what I do is I just walk them down the field edge, right? Now, there's way more opportunity for them to get on our intended game in the woods, in the creeks, in the drains. But I use these field edges, all right? Day, night, whatever we're doing. At this point, I'm just hunting my pup at night if we're coon hunting. So what I'm using these field edges for, whether I'm in the hayfield or I'm in a cornfield, I'm using the field edges. And some of you are going to know what I'm going to say. And if you deal with a lot of pups and you watch a lot of pups, you walk them through thick hardwoods. A lot of times they're just not going to get far away from you. They're going to hang around your feet 20, 30 yards. And they're just going to walk where you walk, or they're going to walk ahead of you. They're just going to zigzag maybe through the woods but because they have no direction. They're just wandering aimlessly in whatever direction you walk them. All right. For me, it seems to take a pup in the thick hardwoods longer to learn to hunt out than it does the way I do. I use the field edges. Just say we go to the cornfields, right? I'm giving my pup a direction to go. Now, They're going to run down this field edge, right? The field edge is, like I said, it's giving them a direction. So instead of just wandering aimlessly, they're walking right ahead of me. They also can get farther away from me and still look back and see me or see my light. They can hear me walking. That makes a pup more comfortable to get out from under my feet. All right? If I'm in the thick woods and a pup goes 50 yards and can't see me, what's a pup going to do? Most pups, they're going to turn around and run their haul ass straight back to me. All right, I'm back, I'm safe. The booger man didn't get me. And then we continue walking. I go out to these field edges. That pup may be 100 yards down the field and can turn around and see my light and go, oh, heck, he's right there. I see him, no big deal. So when my pups are running away from me, I stand. I stop walking and I just stand still. I don't speak, talk. I just let my pup run. When they stop and turn around and look at me, I continue walking. And what I'm doing is, I want my pup to see that I'm coming to them. So when they go ahead of me and turn around and look, in their minds, now this is just, I don't know what a pup's thinking, but hell, I'm trying to, I'm trying to think like a pup. If I'm walking and moving, the pup can see me. They can see me swinging my arms and getting closer to them. They turn around and look at me. They think, oh, well, he's coming. I can continue on. And they turn around and start running again. Well, I stop. And before you know it, your pup's 150, 175 yards ahead of you. And then they may stop, turn around and come back to you. But they know that they can go that far from you and nothing's going to get them. All right? Because at some point you're going to catch up and you're going to be there and they're going to be safe. That's what I use the field edges for. I'm giving my pup a direction to go in a safe line of sight to me. I'm their protector as a pup. They're looking at me as their protector, right? That, in my mind, the pup's more at ease. And when a pup is not scared and they're settled, they're at ease, and they're having a good time, having fun, they're more apt to do better, right? If they're out there and they're scared, they're freaked out, they can't see you, they can't find you, they're not looking for any scent, they're not trying to smell scent, all they're trying to do is find Daddy, all right? So I'm trying to eliminate that. And having the field edges really gives me I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It really helps me get ahead of that, right? And then, I just do that every night. I don't take my pups every single night. I may take them, just say I go out one night and they get on a track and they work that track 80 yards, 90 yards. If they do good and they're having a good time, I'll take them the next night, right? If we go the next night and don't get on nothing happens, I'll give them a night off. I don't want to continue to take my pup to the woods and nothing happen, them not get on nothing and not have no fun because they're going to get bored. They're not going to want to go. I'm going to be bored. I'm not going to want to go, right? So on full moon nights, you're hunting a pup. What's the point in going right at dark? If you're hunting a hound pup, the coons are not going to be moving right at dark. Anybody that has coon hunted for a length of time knows. Odds are, right at dark, coons are not going to be moving. Squirrels are still going to be feeding in that full moon. They're going to feed on up into the night. So if you take your pup early, because you want to get in the bed earlier or whatever, then your pup's going to have more chances of getting on squirrel scent than coon scent. And that's not what you're after, right? So we're after a coon track. A hot coon is what we're looking for. I'm fortunate. I got all these cornfields behind the house, and in my area, I'm overloaded with coons. So my pups have a lot more chance of running up on that hot coon. And It just takes that one right track, whether it's squirrel or coon, that one right track. They may work 10 tracks, and they can smell them, they work them, they just can't figure them out, they don't know what to do. It just takes that one. When they work that one track and get it to a tree and bark, and you're able to get that coon to them, that's it. They everything that you've done up to this point is going to click in their head, and their little switch is going to flip and go, holy shit, the whole entire time, this is what we've been working for. Now, this is not going to apply to every single daggone pup out there. So, it ain't the gospel. All right, this is just my experiences. But it's just that one squirrel, that one coon. And I'm going to knock it out to my pup. I don't care what time of the year it is. I don't care where I'm at, right? Fortunately, Mississippi has a very long coon season, so it's not really a problem for me. I can pretty much knock a coon out most any time. I've got my own land. I can run a pup here. I've got the feeders going inside my starting pen, so the coons they're coming to the pen, and we're just treating them on the outside. So up to this point, everything that I've done, all the time I've spent with this pup, it has been to get her to where we're at. Barking up for the feed, barking up for the coon hide. All of that is now she's worked this track to a tree. She smells something that went up the tree. She puts her feet on it, and she knows, hell, when I smell that up above my head, my feet go on the tree, I open my mouth, guess what I'm getting? I'm getting my prize, right? You're going to eventually start knocking these coons out to this pup. You may do it right off, do whatever you want to. You can knock them out, or you can't. You don't have to knock them out, whichever. But that pup knows now that it's treated its first coon, it's going to get knocked out to it, and it wants to do it again. It's going to want to do it again and again. But I make sure I take my pup at the most opportune time to get on those. I'm not going to take a pup that age, that young, in the pouring ass down rain, right? Because odds are we ain't going to get on nothing, and they're not going to have a good time. You want your pup to have fun and want to go back. You want them the pup I have now, when I open her kennel, she beats me to the woods. That is what you're working up to. So if you go night after night after night when it's full moon and you're going right at dark and they're not no coon moving, they're not getting on nothing, they're going to just not want to go. That's just common sense. Messing with a pup, starting a pup, whatever you want to call it, it's a lot of common sense. Folks overthink a puppy. They try to overtrain a pup. Very rarely do I discipline a pup. There's no need in it. Other than maybe being aggressive, there's nothing that a pup should do to get a whooping. Barking in the kennel. If a pup is barking in the kennel excessively, there's a reason. Either you're not letting it out of the kennel to run enough, so it's just jacked up and wants to get out, or there's something that it's seeing that it's barking at. And then you got pups that just bark their ass off. Those pups that bark for no reason leave here. They don't stay. All right? Since I mentioned it, before I come to my close, I'll get into a little bit of the reasons and what I call a pup for. And the whole time I'm talking about pups, I'm talking about young, under 6 months old. Under 6 months old. If I've got a pup that's just not interested in doing none of what I just talked about, it's got to go. most of the time they get cold. And when I say cold, they're cold. All right. Number one reason that I cold pup is shyness or timidness, whatever you want to call it, being scared. I do not like a timid, shy pup. And even though it's a possibility they grow out of whatever the timidness is, for me, if I have spent this much time with a pup and they're still shy or skittish or timid, when I go out there, and like now you can hear one of my dogs barking. When I go over there and holler and tell that dog to shut up, and my pup runs and hides in the dog box, I don't like that. To me, it's a timidness, right? A pup that is shy and timid, that's not very quickly getting over that or growing out of that, is going to be extremely hard to correct when they're older, and they do need correcting, because if they're shy and timid at a young age, I think that's my pup barking. I thought it was one of the big dogs. If a pup is at that age and they're scared just of your voice, right? And you're hunting them, and they get on an armadillo, and you go to holler at them for it, and they get scared and run to the truck. Your pup just had a bad time. Now it don't want to go nowhere with you because you're yelling at it, right? Because it's scared of you yelling. I like a pup that if I holler at it, it stops, it breaks its concentration on whatever it was doing wrong, looks at me, and I can say, hey, that is not what I want to do. No, get away. And the pup just goes on. It don't get scared. Those are the pups I'm looking for. So I've culled a lot of pups for the timidness. I mean, I don't know. It seems that more cur pups lately have been kind of shy and timid. In the hound pups that I've started and raised here, I really have only seen a couple that were, had more timidness than you get a pup and it's only been here a week or two, and you drop a food bowl. I mean, yeah, it's all of them are gonna flinch and kind of jump back, and the first time you shoot a gun around them, they're gonna flinch and jump back. Which I don't shoot guns around pups when they're young anyway. I mean, hell, you want to make a damn pup scared and timid? Shoot a gun around it when it's too young. That's another big argument. People, I have seen people comment as far as a pup being scared of a gunshot, right? Oh, well, just every time I go out to feed it, I beat pots and pans. And I'm thinking, well, how would your toddler act if every time you went to feed it, you was beating on pots and pans? It'd be squalling and bawling. You scare the hell out of it. Why do that to a pup? Why not wait till that pup is older and mature and may have already heard a bunch of damn rackets like that? If you live out away from everybody, at some point, maybe a neighbor somewhere is going to sight a rifle in and they're hearing gunshots. I live at the end of a dead-end road, and my buddy across the road, like I said earlier, we have a gun range across the road. It's some shooting over there all week, every week. I don't shoot around pups. You shoot around a pup too young and you make it scared, I have to cull it, because that's not what I'm looking for. It's not what I want. Now, when it comes to culling pups, some folks, and I get it. I get this, what I'm about to say before I close. I get that some people spend $500 to $1,000 on a pup and drive, 7 hours, 14 hours, whatever it is, to pick it up, or pay a dog hauler. Dog haulers are $450 now. Pay a dog hauler to go pick it up and bring it to you. You've got a ton of money invested in this pup already. So if it does something you don't like, you tend to not want to cull it, and I'm going to give it a little bit longer, And hey, if it comes out of it, man, I'm thankful. I'm glad it worked out for you. For me, my luck doesn't work that way. I'm a loud person. I'm not rough, but I'm abrasive. when I'm walking out to my kennels and the dogs are barking, I'm just going to yell, hey, shut the hell up. What I'm trying to say, folks, is it is okay to not settle, all right? I'm not going to settle for less. I know there are great pups out there, and I've had some pretty good success being the way that I am. And I mean, yes, I go through pups, and I hate it for I hate it for the breeders that I get a pup from. I really do. You buy a pup from somebody, you know, whether you give them your word or not, they think you're going to go home and you're going to hunt that pup and it's going to be your best friend and it's going to make a world champion. And that don't happen often, right? Most of the time it's the opposite, right? I mean, so don't settle for anything less than what you want, right? If you want a great pup and a great dog, you have to cull those good ones. If you start early, that gives you time to get another one, right? And maybe sometimes you cull one and the next guy gets it and he loves it and it makes a world champion. I mean, that's just the breaks that you get. But for me, once I decide I don't like that pup, it has to leave, because I always in the back of my mind, I'm thinking it's just not going to make, or I don't like it. So I don't put everything that I have into the pup. So I just don't settle. I don't think other folks should just settle because they got a lot of money in a pup, or, oh, my kids like the pup. I mean, I get it. I got kids too, and my kids have come up with pups. Oh, this is my pup, Dad. This is going to be mine, At the end of the day, if that pup is a cull or that pup ain't going to work out, it's just not going to work out. I don't want my kids to think that they have to settle for anything in life. I'm not going to, even when it comes to a pup, and I explain that to my kids. So, don't let that be an excuse. I mean, I know that sucks. I mean, I know it sucks for me to say that your kids get attached to a pup. If you don't like it, get rid of it. But I mean, that's just the harsh reality. I mean, just how things are, I just don't settle. So I'm gonna jump off. Before I go, I got a little something wrote down here. If you've listened this long, I greatly appreciate you listening. If you want to share it, that's great. If you don't want to share it, I don't care. That's fine too. I'm not doing this to be somebody. I just thought maybe I could help. All right. I listen to podcasts all day. And here are the podcasts that I listen to. I support these guys, and I want y'all to support them also. I'm going to name them. We've got the Hunting Dog Public, Tree Talking Time, Coonhound Confidentials, the Slick Tree Podcast, Coon Hunting University, Treat Up Podcast. We've got the Fueled by Joy Podcast, a newer one that's Semper Dogging is a real good one I like. The UKC Hunting Ops Podcast, W Hound Supply has a podcast, and they have several that use their podcast, their hosting, I guess. You've got the Coon Hunting Media Podcast I listen to. They're a newer one. Another new one is Legends of the Black and Tan and Kennel Confidentials. Like I said, I just kind of wrote some of those down so I wouldn't forget their names. If you could, support those guys. I mean, anything that we can do to help each other out and help houndsmen, dogmen. Some of those podcasts, Houndsman XP, I almost forgot, Houndsman XP has probably been out longer than any of them. Chris Powell is a huge advocate for houndsmen and dog hunters, and you listen to his podcast, you can get some information there about other states and how you could help them. Even though you don't live in their state, you can still help them. One, you could help him by supporting Chris. He's getting the word out. He needs support. Same for Chris and Cody, Ben. All these guys need y'all support. They need y'all to listen. And they need y'all to share their podcasts. Anyway, I'm going to jump off. I appreciate y'all listening. Maybe I can help you out. I hope I didn't ramble too much. And if this works out, maybe I'll do another one. Anyway, appreciate y'all. And check out Conky's Outdoors for all your outdoor and hound hunting needs. Great guys. That's where I get all my gear from. Check them out. Thanks.
I just want to give everyone that's listening a sincere thank you. Getting this podcast going has been a project. I really hope you're enjoying it, and if you don't mind, give the show a good rating and review wherever you're listening to it at, or share it on your social media to help get some traction. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to your feedback.